Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz. Guys, welcome to episode 175. Nice round number there for the boys.
Let's go.
If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. So first, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand. We go over our anecdotal experiences with things like mindset and mentality. We then pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have physical vitality episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the physical side of our brand. So we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. Now, in these ones, we cover everything that we offer through our fully custom Untapped training app. In addition to that, we also cover everything to do with the gym, nutrition, workouts, mental toughness programs like 75 Hard. We also go over supplementation. And then sometimes we will take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those. Now, guys, keep in mind, these episodes are full of free game. And also, we are working on some very, very cool big steps for this side of the brand. So hopefully, announcement coming very, very soon for you guys. Be on the lookout for that on all of our social medias.
If you couldn't tell by our content, physical vitality is getting pushed heavily.
Absolutely.
Right now, and we're going to continue to prioritize that side of the brand.
And there's a reason for that.
And there's a reason
You
for
guys
that.
will find out soon.
You'll find out. So, on to our third format, guys. That is our breaking news format. The breaking news format is a current event-based format. We sit down and touch on current events, current articles going on in today's world. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the content you see around current events is very doom and gloom. It's like the sad side of things. We are looking to deliver the actual solutions to those current event issues as best we possibly can in our position here. Now, on to our fourth format. That is our Knights Table format. It is a masculinity-based format. We touch on things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, what it really is, fatherhood, the impact it's had on all 3 of our lives in here, and then also male-based topics in general and how important men are to the future of the United States and also the world. Now, keep in mind, I'm 27, Wurtz is 27, our producer Mitch is 25. Because of that reason, we are not coming to you as some all-put-together man. The only perfect man to ever walk this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our 5th format. That is our guest format. We sit down with entrepreneurs, fitness professionals, athletes, doctors, anybody with a great story or somebody who brings you value. We learn a lot from those episodes. You are also going to learn a lot from those episodes. Our final thing now to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitch Gabel.
What's going on?
What's up, dude?
None.
You're a married man.
I am.
Say big life event.
That's right.
Big life event for the guy.
That's right.
Nothing.
Money Mitch is all grown up.
Nothing happened.
He's all grown up.
Nothing happened at all.
I don't think any of us 3 in here are technically grown up by the world standards.
We never will.
Hey, we're
No.
old.
And we never should either, by the way.
Yeah. Living life just depressed all the time is not on the docket for me.
Yeah, we're
at
just
all.
like super serious all the time.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love being serious about topics, but
For
I
sure.
also love having a bunch of fun
absolutely.
about topics too.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're on status now. Jacob is at least. That's
Bro,
what
I
he was
keep-
told.
yeah.
I was told that too on my birthday this year.
I've gotten a lot of unks
Yeah,
recently.
We're
I
gonna,
don't know
we're
what's
gonna
going
breeze
on.
past
What
the
happened there?
voice crack.
I can tell you're young.
It didn't
Someone
happen.
hit
It didn't happen,
there,
okay?
brother.
It didn't
That's,
happen.
that's the call for Wurtz to go to summer rejuvenation right there. Get the blood work done.
Yeah, right,
holy
right,
cow.
right.
John.
I'm not on status, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, stop it.
The rest of the podcast.
Oh, it's awesome.
Oh man, we are back after a couple of weeks off, or I guess technically a week off because we had our YouTube exclusive number 15?
16.
16?
Yep.
That came out last week. If you guys haven't checked that out, go over to YouTube and do so. Quality of the video isn't the highest because it was like dark outside.
It's like 7:30
but
at night. Yeah.
I did what I could with the camera. Gable did what he could and editing. So
Post production.
whatever.
Would
Yeah.
that be what it would be called? Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Still good, valuable information in that though. But
Cool words, right, Mitchell?
that's right. Big brains over here.
He was excited about that one.
He was.
Post production.
He's like,
Yeah.
yes, it sounded good. Yeah.
By the way, it's only like 8.5 minutes long. So
Super
for those
short.
of you that like the short stuff on YouTube,
Yes.
boom, it's perfect for you.
Yes,
So
yes. We actually put a picture of Mitch to indicate that it was a shorter video.
imagine that's on the thumbnail. Just Mitchell on the thumbnail.
I should have done that.
Those
dude. That
ones where
would've
they stretch you out so you look like a garden gnome, like the memes. Yeah.
been- Well, we wouldn't even have to stretch you out.
Oh,
though.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh man. Well, Mitch, I know you're anxiously awaiting your time over there. I can see the feet kicking. You know,
I am.
You're ready. You're ready to go. So to begin all of our episodes now, we do start with Mitch's fact of the day. So what do you got for us today?
Did you know we are only born with 2 natural fears? Those being the fear of falling and the fear of loud sounds. All other fears are learned. Fact of the day.
Interesting.
Or acquired.
So it's almost like the falling and loud sounds, I guess, would fall into the category of it's like a natural survival instinct to a degree.
Could be. Yeah.
Because I guess loud sounds, especially when you're young, do not feel good on your ears, I would imagine.
Sure.
That's why we had to keep Haven away to a certain degree from the fireworks the other weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then falling, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
That's, you're instinctually going to be like, holy shit, this is horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody has those dreams of everybody falling,
my
I bet,
gosh.
too. Oh,
And then
gosh,
you wake
those are
up
awful.
instantly. Yeah.
Awful dreams. I would imagine, yeah. The learned is interesting, though, Mitchell, because that technically means you could avoid imprinting those fears on yourself.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like, you're not born scared of spiders, for example.
Right. Yeah.
But because someone told you that they're scared of spiders, and then you like
You
start to think
about
about it,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, yeah, I don't feel the need to be around spiders. Like, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
It
So
just
it's
shows,
learned.
dude, cognition in the human brain is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
It's super cool, and it's
Yeah.
also super malleable based on that fact, you know? Which, like, obviously we know that, but very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Fear of falling,
I like that
fear
one.
of loud noises, yeah.
It's cool.
Good work, Mitch.
Mhm.
Good work, good work, good work.
Mhm.
All right, guys, as I mentioned, we do have episode 175. Again, really nice round number, very quickly approaching 200, which is very cool. That probably means we need to start kind of thinking about planning for 200.
Well, we'll have something good in store for 200 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. In case you guys didn't know, we tried to do something obviously very special for the big 100 episodes, which we've only had one to this point. But even for the 50 episodes, we tried to do something very special.
Like
and
150, we were out in
unique.
Jefferson City.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Which is very cool. But for 175, we do have a Knights Table episode. It's been a little bit since we've done a dedicated Knights Table.
That's
We've done
true.
a lot of breaking news and physical vitality here recently. And again, we're really working to expand the physical vitality episodes because that's our bread and butter. That's our roots. That's our expertise. So we want to share as much knowledge as we can with you guys. And again, we have something in the works that's very exciting, and it will be announced very soon. Potentially the week that you guys are hearing this episode, actually. But were men purposely stunted?
It's a great question.
That is our overall question, overall topic for the episode today.
I'm excited about this topic,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Just prepping for the episode, I was like, this is going to be a good one.
Absolutely.
100%.
You know, and I feel like we've kind of hinted at this type of topic several times
I would agree.
throughout Breaking News and Knights Table, and quite honestly, probably throughout all of our major formats. But we have yet to do a dedicated one to it. But we've also kind of answered this question several times, I would say, through the topics that we've covered, through the points that we've brought up, through the questions we've brought up, and the noticing that we've done, because we are very handsome pattern noticers.
Extremely.
Yes.
Yeah. Extremely. Yes. Understatement if you ask me. But
So I think let's start with the media
Mhm.
and the representation of men in the media,
Mhm.
you know, and I think we see it a lot in current TV shows, current movies, especially a lot of Disney related stuff that comes out now. Lots of contemporary media is the best way, I guess, to explain it. So we're not necessarily just talking like the big media outlets, but rather shows, movies, that type of media, you know, consumable type media, where we see these families where the dad is just kind of a buffoon in a way, you know.
He's a dumbass.
Yeah. They portray him as a dumbass, as weak,
Yes.
you know, not a leader figure in the household, in the family. He's, you know, getting walked over in different situations.
He's a doormat, too.
And
Yep.
and yes, and it's not in your face. These shows and movies will portray it, specifically shows, I would say more, portray it in like a comedic way. You know, like it's a funny thing.
Very subconsciously putting
Exactly.
it in the show. 100%.
Yes, exactly. And sure, in the moment you might laugh, but then when you start to really think about what the message really may be behind that, there could be something more, I don't know if sinister is the right word because that's kind of strong.
To a degree, sinister is the right word there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could go down, that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you kind of zoom back out and again, you think about it more on a macro level, it's like, well, what is that showcasing? You know, if that's what people are watching, whether it's kids or adults watching, it doesn't really matter. Again, subconsciously, that's how they think of men. That's how they think of a father or a husband or a whatever, a brother even, you know? And that has long-term effects.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that, you know? We see plenty of men that are in those types of situations in real life, you know? And some of them we know. And it's kind of hard to watch.
Oh, it's extremely hard to watch.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's very hard to watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start there.
Yeah, I like that. The interesting dichotomy that came to my mind when you were talking about the points there is, so obviously movies, TV shows, commercials, there is a high majority of them, at least for a while, like let's say like early our lifetime, like 2000s up until about 2020 or 2022 or so, you notice that pretty much the weak man was a very common trend in most movie, TV shows, or ads in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the one who made the mistakes. He's the one that, got walked over, told he was stupid, all this stuff. Now, an interesting dichotomy I noticed is that the shows and the movies that portray this strong leader, main male character, for example, Taylor Sheridan shows are a great example of this.
Yeah.
You got Kevin Costner looking like a stud in Yellowstone.
Very clearly the leader of the family.
Very clearly the patriarch of the family.
Yes.
The
100%.
word that everybody's scared of, the patriarch.
Yeah.
Patriarchy or whatever you want to call it.
And even beyond that, very clearly the leader of the business / the farm.
Correct.
Or the ranch, I should say.
And basically an empire to a degree.
Yeah.
Essentially
right.
an empire.
Right.
Yeah. And you even got Sylvester Stallone in Tulsa King right now in one of the Taylor Sheridan shows. He is a very strong Italian masculine figure, and you think of like this mobster as a very masculine figure a lot of the times. You know what I mean?
Well, and
he doesn't take any shit at all.
Right.
And
throughout his career specifically, when he was playing Rocky, same type of stuff,
Or was he Rambo?
He was.
Yep.
He was.
Yeah,
that was obviously before
Yeah.
our time to a degree. But, in Rocky, it portrayed working hard and having discipline and working towards a mission and a goal and things like that and showing all the behind the scenes work. And then obviously what happens in the fights, he wins some, he loses some and whatnot. But anyway, continue on.
I think what I noticed about those shows, the Taylor Sheridan shows are a great example. I'm trying to think of a movie that would be a good example. Terminal List would be another one. If those of you that have watched that, I'm getting Wurtz on that here soon with Chris Pratt.
I need to.
Great show.
And Taylor Kitsch.
I won't spoil. Yeah, and Taylor Kitsch. I won't spoil that one at all.
But that's another Taylor Sheridan show, right?
No, it's shoot. Chris Pratt's involved in the executive producing of that show, I believe, in some manner.
Okay.
But there's somebody else that is also like
Gotcha.
The co-producer, whatever you want to call it, along with him. Taylor Kitsch actually produced the Dark Wolf one with him in it.
Got it.
But anyways, so those are great examples of shows. I'm trying to think of other movies, like Sicario would probably be a great example.
Yeah, it's like a just badass stuff.
Badass special forces and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those movies
Josh
always...
Brolin's
a beast.
Yeah.
Those movies always tend to do the best, too.
Yeah.
You notice the ones where the men get walked over or something like that, or, they try to portray whatever BS message in it or something like that. They just don't do well. A lot of those movies, they just have no chance of doing well because they lose essentially the real, like even males that are, softer, so to speak, subconsciously, they don't even want to watch those movies either.
Yeah.
It's just not an enjoyable movie for somebody to watch because it's corny a lot of the time. What you were talking about. They're getting walked over. They're getting embarrassed the whole time. And you were talking about the sinister point of the whole thing, whether or not it's sinister and whatnot. I do think it's 100% purposeful.
Sure.
Without a doubt, think it's purposeful. Because if you portray and create the weak man, and then that propaganda, so to speak, encourages weakness in men, that means it's much easier to control society.
Yeah.
Because again, the strong men are the ones who say no when something is morally wrong.
Yeah.
Again, that's should be pretty clear to most anybody with a brain. So yeah, I think there's a sinister aspect to it. I think that the 1960s was probably where it started, around the time of not only the Civil Rights Act but also the time of the sexual revolution.
Yeah.
Around that same time, because feminism became a real thing at that point in time. There was the first wave feminism that started a little bit with the 19th Amendment and stuff like that. Second wave, third wave, and third wave is obviously the one people think of nowadays, where it's basically just emasculating men, and women are continuing to say it's about equality, but in reality it's about them getting more things than men, which turns around and works against them as well.
Correct.
Because they don't want to date men that are less than them, so to speak.
Right.
Which is hilarious how that works. The divorce rate also goes up when the woman is making 2, 3, 4 times what the man is. It explodes. The divorce rate does at that point in time. 70% of divorces are also initiated by women in this scenario. And this isn't a hate on women episode. I have a wife and daughter, obviously. This is a honesty episode here.
Yeah. And those are just facts too. Like that's just numbers.
They're just data. That's it. People can hate data all they want, but it's a real thing. It always adds up. It always leads back to that when you actually look into it. Obviously, gut instincts are a thing too. Like you look at a weak man, us three would hear and would look like at a weak man, and we're like, it's very easy to pick out.
Yeah.
You see how he interacts with his girlfriend, his wife, whatever. He gets walked over by her.
Or just how he looks.
She just talks over him. She talks bad about him in front of him, or maybe even behind his back and whatnot. She walks over him and that's what this stuff you're talking about in the media has been encouraging, because it encourages the doormat. It encourages the man who says, "Oh, the old ball and chain. My wife told me to do this," and oh gosh, and again, it's a lot of people think of that as the boomer generation created that in a lot of ways.
Kind of like the melting pot idea.
The melting pot, funny enough, the melting pot was 1920s that was created.
Oh, I thought it was like 50s.
I believe it was actually earlier than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot.
By a
yes,
particular individual from a particular sect of people.
Not American. Let's just say that. And so that is an interesting thing to watch, because you have men who don't actually lead their households, and they think that is just normal because it's what they've been told now for 50 to 70 years is normal.
Right.
When now there's a big masculinity revival, especially after COVID. We've noticed in the last 5 years, especially, to where men are looking to lead their relationships. They're not looking to get walked over, etc.
Right. Even as more recent as like the last year.
Absolutely.
It feels like it's exploded even more.
The election cycle enhanced a lot of that.
Sure. And what's come after that too, because there's a lot of things happening that we weren't told were going to be happening, or there's a lot of things that aren't happening that we were told were going to happen. And so you see the influence of outside figures and things like that. And it's not a breaking news episode, but all of that has led to the acceleration of that explosion as well. Because you're 100% right that after COVID, it definitely started. And then it feels like in the last year to 18 months or so, it's just accelerated even more, especially among younger guys.
Oh, yeah.
People our age.
Big time.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. It's encouraging, and there's even plenty of women too, like on social media and whatnot. And, even your wives and whatnot that want that. And also encourage that
they didn't fall into that trap.
Yeah, exactly.
That society is set for them, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And where that starts from is the household that they grow up in. You know what I mean? It influences that in a positive manner. So
if the daughter sees the dad leading and loving the mom in the proper manner, because again, leadership does not mean she is his slave.
Correct.
That should be,
and that's what people
obvious.
associate it with.
Always.
Which is ridiculous.
Always.
Yeah.
They do. It is ridiculous because it's a complete reversal of the gender roles we've had for thousands of years that were also, as a Christian, were biblically laid out. To where we've talked about the ordo amoris with JT on his episode.
Yeah.
Was that 171 with him, right?
Yeah, you know it better than me.
When we just had him on recently. And so we talked about that ordo amoris, and that's the Christ, husband, mother, children. And that's the order you go in, or husband, wife, children, you know what I mean? And that's the order you go in. But again, it doesn't mean the husband subjugates the wife and children.
Right.
That is not what it means.
Right.
It means that for example, in my own relationship, the way it looks is that I go out and I sacrifice weekly. I'm gone oftentimes 12 to 14 hours a day
Mhm.
while Holly's at home with Avon,
Mhm.
you know? And something as simple, and we were talking to Mitch and I were talking to one of our buddies over the wedding weekend about this, how it's as simple as daily, at minimum, weekly, I hear from Holly how appreciative she is of what I do.
Mhm.
I don't come home and tell her, do this, do this, do that.
Right. Right.
The stuff she does, she willingly gets up and does
Yeah.
because she sees me doing what I do
Yeah.
at the same time. There is no conversation about, who leads the household, who doesn't. There is no conversation about like, oh, I want you to go back and, back break yourself through work and whatnot. There is no conversation like that.
Right.
And it's as simple as my job in a lot of ways is to set a good example for Holly and Haven
Mhm.
and then deliver for them production wise, so to speak.
Yeah.
Providing wise.
Yeah.
Be probably the easier way to describe it. To where, funny enough, the man should be the one, in our case, what we're talking here, the man should be the one that's sacrificing the most.
Mhm.
He should 100% be, if necessary in this current economy, sadly it is kind of necessary, working himself to whatever degree is necessary for his wife and children to have an easy life, or at least how do I put this? Because it's not a cushy life, but their needs are met, so to speak,
Right.
by the husband's sacrifice.
Right.
And he shouldn't be worried about that. And in return, the wife then nurtures the home.
Mhm.
It's a pretty simple idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean she puts on a maid outfit and Holly goes around sweeping the house for me or something like that. It doesn't mean any of that.
Well, and on the flip side of this too, she's not telling you to go out and do whatever it is either. The
Mhm.
expectations were just set.
Yep. And that's why you date correctly too. There's also an aspect of that where you ask the questions, you solidify the roles before you're even married. I don't know. I think there we go.
There we go.
Yep. Or sorry, the chair was about to knock over the table out here for us. But you're right. Like it's not a conversation with us. There is no. We already we the roles distinct early on in dating within the first 2 to 3 months of what it was going to look like,
Mhm.
and then it was done from there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Good. And so it's the order is very simple, and it's not subjugation. It's just leadership.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Well, and going back to our original point here with the media and everything, this has also caused the rise of that term toxic masculinity, which is then in turn kind of eroded the healthy masculinity idea, identity, however you want to word it, which has just continually fueled the lack of action taking by men, in general, whether that's physical health, whether it's financial, whatever it might be, emotional or, any of those things. So because from social media, mainstream media, I would say this type of stuff comes more from that side rather than like the TV shows and things like that. Not that it doesn't exist in consumable media, but through things like social media and the big media, the whole toxic masculinity term is continually shoved in everyone's faces, so then it causes men to be scared to take on these roles that you were just describing, or to have those conversations or whatever it might be. And so then that just goes back to the first point where we're talking about the doormats and the weakness and the buffoon dad type figure, and so it's just another part. It's just another thing that perpetuates the problem,
Yeah.
And I mean, how many times do we see the term toxic masculinity shoved in our faces?
Mhm.
Everywhere?
Well, it kind of came along the lines of the thing that made a really big trend. It was probably about 8 to 10 years ago. Was the idea of rape culture on college campuses? If you remember
the Me Too
that
thing?
Yeah, the Me Too thing was a big part of that and whatnot. And they basically made it sound like all men were going to rape you at some point in time. That's
Right.
essentially what it sounds
Right.
like. And the problem with that is because you call toxic masculine, that type of stuff. You turn around, then those same women talking about toxic masculinity are then the ones voting for criminal reform, which criminal reforms means somebody's out after 14 arrests.
Yeah.
There's no 3-strike laws. There is, crime rampant in the cities and drug use rampant in the cities. And so you look at that, they vote for that. Those are then the men that commit the rapes and whatnot. And then men like us are sitting here saying, no, we should execute the rapist.
Yeah.
And that would stop the problem. And then they tell you that's crazy or like it's too harsh or something like that. And it's like, so we're trying to solve the issue you're talking about right now, and you're denying us on that.
They're also the ones that are rooting for all of the insane immigration problems that we have currently, which is also allowing these types of individuals to come into this country.
Correct, because you think about different cultures. You see videos of Pakistani, Somalian men, a lot of Middle Eastern, South Asian in general. The way they view women is much different than Western culture.
100%.
Much different.
They legitimately see women as less than.
Yes.
Like that's a real thing.
There is no, it's not about ordo amoris for them. It's about that.
Domination.
It's about domination for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why you see European countries have rising rape rates. And you're talking about a small percentage of the population comes in that is immigrants, and they then account for an ungodly percentage of the rapes in the area.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't know if you saw the video of the, I believe it was a taxi driver, maybe it was an Uber driver in Canada. He was Middle Eastern. I think he was from, because he said it in the video, I believe. It doesn't matter. He was from one of the Middle East countries, and it was a white woman, and she was filming this guy because she kind of thought it was funny in a way, or at least she was like uncomfortably laughing. So maybe she didn't actually think this was funny. But this guy was straight up saying to her face, it was an older man. He said, if we were back in my home country, I would kidnap you and I would rape you. Like it's on video. And it's like that. And he goes, but because we're here, there are laws against that. And she's just sitting there like, yeah, you can't do that. Ha ha ha. Like you can't do that here. He goes, and he was dead face or straight face serious. It's like, if we were back in my home country, I would kidnap you and rape you.
Yes.
Because you would be mine.
And they don't even necessarily think about it as rape.
Not at all.
They think about it as, oh, you're meeting a man's needs.
Exactly.
That's essentially what's happening. And then you're talking about, the video I sent you, for example, of the Somalian man. I was like a 70-year-old man was basically crying about child marriage almost being being outlawed.
Yeah.
And supposedly got reversed in Somalia too, that like they still allow child marriage because there were so many people so against it there. And again, you're bringing over, like that doesn't mean that 100% of the people from these cultures are all that way, but it's not intelligent, even if 70% of that culture thinks that way, to bring them over to your country. You keep them in those countries. You keep India, you keep Somalia, you keep Pakistan, Pakistani, all of it.
Yes.
And you go from there.
Yeah.
But again, you're right. What we're talking about with the toxic masculinity thing, it's been pushed by a lot of third wave feminism. They're also the ones that push more immigration.
Yeah.
Which then the rape rates rise. Because you see in the UK, there was a comparison between the UK and Poland. So Poland, for those of you that don't know, has been extremely strict with their immigration policy. Extremely.
Yeah.
Which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
And so their numbers, they obviously all these countries keep crime data, and one of those crimes is rape, obviously. In the UK, so it was comparing 2000 to about 2022 or 2024, so one of those time periods. So 2000 in the UK was, since they had more people in Poland, was like they had like 3,000 rapes during that year or something like that, or maybe it was even low as 2,000. Poland at that time had about 2,000 in the year 2000. You look then at the year of, let's say 2024 in this scenario, is either 2022 or 2024, and Poland's rape rates had dropped actually to 1,500 compared to 2,000, which is pretty wild to think about, truthfully, which means they're probably prosecuting the crime pretty consistently as well as having a good immigration policy. The UK's in that same year, it had gone up to between 13 to 15,000 rapes were recorded. This was recorded rapes. This is not, this is not the ones that are written off by the police that you see over in the UK. It's just kind of chalked up as, oh, it's not a crime.
Yeah.
So 13 to 15,000, and you see the difference between the two countries' immigration policy, and you're like, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You see videos like what you just talked about, where you're like, they don't think of women the same way we do.
Correct.
They don't.
Correct.
So it's like, why, along the same topic of toxic masculinity, this comes into the same play to where, men, this is also a call for you that even if third wave feminism calls you names and that you get called names for being, strict on your policies in a country, you ignore that.
Mm-hmm.
You should never get subjugated by a society's policies if they are morally wrong.
Yeah.
That should never happen.
Yeah.
You're a man. You lead and you get the right policies into play. You vote the right policies into play, and if necessary, you do something else to get it into play.
Right.
Pretty simple there.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Would we say that schools and the media kind of reward the passivity and conformity of men over strength, leadership, discipline, those types of traits in men? Kind of throwing that out to both of us here as that question.
You could make that argument for sure.
I would say so.
You can make that argument 100%.
Because you look at young people coming up through school systems right now, even as young as elementary and middle school, throughout high school and then college. You look at a lot of these kids that are coming up, especially the young boys, and they have no attention span. They are distracted by the next thing that Mr. Beast is doing or the brain rot videos. There's no desire to work hard for things, whether it's in their sport that they're playing. Not saying that they have to be, working out 6 days a week or something when they're 14 years old, Now, we would encourage them to be in the gym at 14 years old, for sure. There is a proper way to train kids at that age, and it's still very important, especially for athletic kids. But I would say, yeah, it definitely rewards that, and I don't know, because obviously we've been out of school for some time now. I don't know that there's like individual lessons being taught on this type of thing, but when you look at the kids that are coming out of these schools now, it certainly would appear that way.
Yeah. Just like judging a book by its cover, so to speak. That's what it looks like, 100%,
Yeah.
to a degree. And obviously you and I have seen it in younger kids and whatnot, that lack of attention span, lack of goals, lack of even basic life understandings to a certain degree as well. Drive in general. Yeah. 100%. I would say on the topic of the media rewarding that, absolutely. Because, for example, it's very rare you see a story, for example, about a man who defended his family with a firearm, which happens hundreds of thousands of times a year, by the way.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of thousands of crimes a year on the FBI database that are stopped by firearms because the man just presented a firearm, as simple as that, or he had to shoot and defend the scenario. So actually, I was reading something like this from the Nashville shooting, I believe it was. Remember the Nashville transgender person that shot up the Catholic school there? The officer, his name was Officer Rex. He was a former Marine and came in there and just very, very detailed. Came in there, ran through his progressions, so to speak, as the Special Forces guys call it, and the military guys call it, and then just kind of turns a corner, guns the guy down, and he's done.
Yeah.
And that's it. That type of stuff is not celebrated by the media.
And you know what is the first female blank, or the first black blank, the first transgender blank, whatever it is, first female president of this company, or the first female umpire in Major League Baseball that happened this past year, or whatever it is. Those types of things are celebrated, and they're pushed throughout the media and whatever. It's like, and this is that can be an entirely different topic, quite honestly, because it could be more of like a meritocracy type topic. It's like, I don't care what gender you are, what color you are, like, do the job well, and again, that's a whole separate topic, but you don't ever hear about the man that did a great job on X, Y, or Z, or it's not celebrated the first male president of a company, because it's just like, okay, great. Bank of America got a new president. I don't know. That was the first company that came to mind for some reason. I don't know. But trying to think of like a major company,
right.
A big company, recognizable name. Like, no one cares.
No.
They don't care about if they can do the job, But it's a huge deal if it's the first female, whatever. And so that goes into all of this, and it goes back into the feminist talk as well, because while they think the feminism movement is uplifting women, it is at the very same time pushing down men, and then it creates all the problems that we've already talked about throughout the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because you're right. The only place, so this year especially, there has been an increase of male CEOs and then male business owners as well, of leading large companies and whatnot in general. And the only place I saw that reported was on the America First post on X. That account, and that was it.
There you go.
It was never anywhere else. It was just shown that, like, supposedly, especially white men were back in leadership positions in a very heavy way. You could look at that and say, okay, was that DEI related? Was that just, they worked their ass off? I don't know. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. But that was only talked about by a right-leaning newspaper that is like pretty niche, truthfully, to most people.
Yeah.
Most people. So that's the media side of things for sure. Where schools, you could 100% make the argument, looking back even on our childhood in elementary, middle, and high school, and then even nowadays with colleges and whatnot, as we know, you could 100% sit here and say that the media does not reward male-based traits, so to speak, of the strength, the discipline, et cetera, the leadership. Something as simple in elementary school as not prioritizing more recess for the young men or the young boys in elementary school is actually a very simple thing that could be done, because that type of play out there, the roughhousing, the competing against each other and whatnot, is really good for their development.
It is.
It's extremely good for their development. You trying to sit them in a classroom for 8 hours a day and expect them to focus is not good for their development.
Well, and through those activities as well, whether it's as young as elementary school or, in high school, we had to choose to take PE and things like that. But in those types of situations, leaders will just naturally come about. Again, we could be talking about 7-year-olds, but it's like Billy's the one leading the football team out at recess, Like,
absolutely.
Billy's the dude, It just kind of naturally happens. At that young of age. It typically happens because that kid is a little bit bigger, like he's growing up a little bit faster.
He might speak his mind a little bit more too.
Yeah. He might be a little bit of a dick, but
possibly.
But like, leaders kind of just naturally come about. In middle school, how often do we see it? There's you got a 14-year-old kid that is legitimately 4'11". You have a kid the same exact age that is legitimately 6 foot. Like, literally, I've seen it.
You've seen it because it was me.
well, sure, of course. But I'm thinking of kids that you and I grew up around as well, where like you're playing middle school football, you're terrified of the dude that's 6 foot tall already. Because he's a young man, it seems like, and
starting to understand male hierarchy.
Sure. And so you're already looking to him as a leader. He could suck at football, but he probably doesn't at that age because he can just run over everybody. But
so true.
But the point remains that you are already looking at him as a leader of the team.
Yep.
So again, back to my actual overall point here, the reason that you're right with things like recess, things like PE, things like in our high school, we had a team sports class that we could take.
We had an advanced weight training class.
Advanced weight training, of course.
Competing against the other dudes in the class.
Yeah, absolutely. Also building camaraderie and brotherhood in those types of classes, where, let's say it's max day in the weight room, like the whole classroom's hyped up for the dude that's going to try and squat 405,
Yep.
And so there's an excitement, there's a brotherhood, there's a testosterone fueled room there, and that's awesome. That's teaching good traits for young men.
It's that controlled aggression too.
Absolutely.
Like encouraging controlled aggression.
It's an outlet.
Is a lot of the times because of the fact that a lot of schools in general, elementary, middle, and high school, are dominated by female teachers. A lot of the times that stuff gets clipped because women find it to be a very scary thing. When in reality, men need to have that controlled aggression because that competition is very important because then they can carry it into their field in cybersecurity like Mitchell, and he's competing against his coworkers and whatnot to win.
Yeah.
Or he's building a business and he's competing against people that way in the future and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, so that competition is important. And also, like you said, it builds the brotherhood that comes along with it, which again, like we probably got the last of that when we were in high school. We really probably did. And because I don't, especially with technology, I don't see that camaraderie with men in a lot of the younger generations, like the Zoomers and but all, you know, younger Gen Z, especially because we're all Gen Z in here technically, but we're the older end of it. And it's very disappointing because most, especially public schools, do not cultivate that.
No.
Just true. I mean, I know nothing about private schools, but I would imagine having to compete with your male peers all day and having no female peers around, it probably adds a lot of juice to the fire, so to speak.
I mean, I can attest to that some because, you know, I used to be training a lot of private school guys from some of the big schools here in St. Louis. And absolutely that does exist in those private schools. And from what I was told, experienced, my perspective on it was in a positive manner. There's also a reason in a lot of the sports, those schools dominate the other schools. Not always, but there are repeat state champions or repeat Final Four trips for the private schools is because, and yeah, we could get into the whole recruiting aspect that they're allowed to do and things like that, but still.
They still win.
They still win, you know, and they still teach those traits. And not to mention a lot of those schools, actually, I think maybe all of them are Catholic schools too. So they're teaching all of those factors as well, you know? And so those types of schools are teaching the qualities that we are talking about that we need, you know? And obviously you have to have good teachers in place and good coaches in place for those things to really be taught. But those schools are rooted in Christian values, which in turn is going to it's going to root in the hierarchy that you were talking about earlier: God, husband, wife, children.
Yep.
It's instilling those things in the younger generations. And there's a lot of times those boys are more mature in ways. Not always, because again, you're around boys all day long. So like boys are going to be boys.
Sure.
And that's okay. You know, they kind of have an environment that's conducive to that in ways. You know, we're not saying that these schools allow fights to happen or things like that. That's not what we're saying, or not what I'm saying. But in my experience, comparing private school kids to public school kids, in those private school kids, there is a lot more competition that is instilled in them. There's a lot more goal setting and reaching for goals. There's a lot more drive that comes with those kids. There's a better understanding of what it takes to get to a higher level of competition or a higher level of academic competition even, actually, because a lot of time those kids are very good in school as well. There's something there. Yeah. You know, there's something to be said for that.
Well, you're talking about the private schools. They also don't have the effeminate aspects that public schools do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Like that, the effeminacy of, you know, again, being around a majority female teachers or being around a lot of your female peers as well. It's a similar idea to where there was a, I believe it was a Marine who was talking about how, and I believe this guy was an officer of some sort in the Marines, where his unit over in, you know, wherever in the Middle East at this point in time was stationed, and it was this dialed in group of Marines. Just, they went in, knocked shit down, and basically got out and did their job and whatnot. And it was awesome. What was really interesting is they said they brought in either a female non-combat unit or a very majority female combat unit of some sort, which is very weird to me anyways. But they brought in that unit, and this guy described it as it went from this well-oiled machine and turned into like an elementary school dance, basically, where the boys naturally around women are acting like, you know, in ways to try and impress the women and stuff like that.
Sure. They're distracted.
Like they're distracted from that, you know, and that's why a lot of the male private schools you're talking about, they have more of the dominant qualities we're talking about.
And, you know, on the flip side of that too, I will say a lot of the all-girl schools are the same way, just on the other side.
Yep.
you know, whether it's sports or academics or whatever it might be, they're the same way. You know, and this isn't to say public schools aren't good. This isn't to say that women aren't good teachers. There's plenty of bad women teachers. There's plenty of bad men teachers. So we're not hating on this, because the three of us in this room, we only went through public school. And at least speaking for myself, I had a very good experience with all three of the schools I went to growing up. And I think at least in our high school, we had a good mix of male teachers and female teachers. You know, I truly do believe that. You know, you're going to have some bad teachers just in general, but I would say the mix that we had was good. Overall, positive.
Yep.
You know, and so we're not sitting here saying that you should only go to private schools or that you shouldn't allow your kids to have female teachers. We're not saying anything like that. Okay. We're just talking about the difference between experiences in private school kids and public school kids.
Yeah.
And observations.
Because generalizations don't always mean that an entire group is just bad.
Of course.
That's not like
of course.
Not what we're saying.
No.
You know, you're not sitting here saying like female teachers are all idiots.
Yeah, right.
That's obviously not true.
Right.
You know, and anybody that takes generalizations like that is not a very intelligent person who can glean the point of what we're making here. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To where, and that's also too, like that as a female teacher, you have to sit there and be aware of the differences between the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
And you have to encourage the male qualities and encourage the female qualities when they come out. If the boys are playing sports at recess and they're talking trash to each other, let them.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now they're trying to bully one kid or something like that.
Of
Obviously
course.
you step in, but like if it's just healthy masculinity that way, allow it to happen.
Yeah.
That's good. It's the same thing as like, you know, I'm sure plenty of times you've seen things where it's like men will be talking shit and say some out of pocket stuff when they're trying to win a game or something like that. And then, you know, some woman related to the situation says, "Oh, that's so inappropriate. Like what are we doing?" It's like, we got it. Like this is not where you step in.
Right.
Like that's part of the game.
Yeah.
You
where
know?
it's like, we know it was wrong. Let us handle it.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I can guarantee you, you know, let's say it's like a college football situation, you know, and a dude like taunts, like makes a big tackle and he taunts a guy, you know.
Love it.
If you got a female coach that's, you know, riding his ass on that and getting his face on all this, he's not going to take it seriously.
He's going to consider it to be a joke. Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
But
yeah,
you get his male head coach up his ass about it and in his face about it, I guarantee you that lesson will get through his head.
Yep.
You know?
Because you just cost us 15 yards doing that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that lesson gets through to that.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The overall arching point about the point is we're talking about, are men purposely stunted? One, we think yes.
Yeah.
But also, men, this is an encouragement for you to be men. It is okay to be a man and act like a man
100%.
and to lead your family and be competitive in sports and be a little bit brash sometimes and whatnot.
Sure.
That happens with it as well.
Sure.
That is all good stuff. It is. Again, there's a difference between the controlled aspect of that aggression and that intensity and whatnot compared to being unhinged, obviously,
sure.
which is what we're talking about. We've talked about in the past with criminal policy and whatnot, and you know, hammering down on the unhinged aspect of it, so to speak.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. At the end of all of our non-guest episodes, Money Mitch over there will ask us a Q&A question that's submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. Now, we have a few different ways that we would like you guys to submit these questions to us. Number one, you can DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. You can also DM them to us individually. You can text them to us individually if you have our numbers as well. You can email these questions to us. Our email is extricationfitness@gmail.com. A little bit of a mouthful, we know, so there is actually a button in our Instagram and our Facebook bios that make it super easy. It'll take you right to your email. You can pop the question in there, send it right on over. Third and final way that you can submit these to us is you can leave them in the comments of any of our social media posts. We're very active on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube/YouTube Shorts. You can leave them in the comments on any of those platforms. All of these questions get sent over to Money Mitch. He will then picks one out that, he is just causing a mess over there. Apologies if you guys heard the...
That's Mitchell Bull in a China shop Gable over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He
He didn't even put the mic up for
no,
that.
he didn't.
Yeah,
He
what
didn't.
the heck?
It's too violent, okay?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
remember,
right.
remember, tone down.
Unhealthy masculinity.
Tone down the masculinity over there, okay? Anyway, Mitch will pick a question out. It can pertain to the episode. It can be a funny question. It could be about a past episode. It could be about anything, really, especially health and fitness. We get a lot of those questions. We love those questions. We also love the funny ones because they get a little good laugh at the end of the episodes.
Sure do.
So submit those questions to us, guys. And then Money Mitch has his moment.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten in a dugout or a locker room?
Eaten
Eaten.
inside the locker room?
Eaten.
The weirdest thing?
Dip.
We know.
Just eating it.
We know
gosh.
Wurtz was eaten in the dugout.
Hey,
I mean-
fat words came after ball. It wasn't necessarily during.
That you were just thick at that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
Playing ball, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You were like Matt Adams in his prime.
I was
Yeah.
just kind of like a blob. in
Yeah,
a
he had
way,
some
you know?
cankles
Like,
going on. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Cankles? Come on, bro.
Those damn sunflower seeds catching up.
You know, I never was a big sunflower seed guy, though.
That's surprising.
Not that I don't like them. I just wasn't a big, like, while playing. That was more in college, the dip and stuff. But
So
Classic-
funny story real
classic
quick.
days.
So when I played baseball at a strong age of 7 years old.
Well, I don't think you played that long. I think I stopped you at like 6
No,
years
I
old
stopped
'cause
at
I was
7
like, stop.
because I was a better athlete than you. Anywho,
Really? Okay.
anywho, so Wurtz, you'll get a kick out of this. Me being 7 years old, I didn't realize you're supposed to like break open the sunflower seed and
so
then
you
like
just
spit it
swallow
out.
them whole.
So I like a whole bag, swallowed it whole. That night in the parents' bathroom, 7-year-old me just letting it rip until like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. And I have not had a sunflower seed since that day because
Just blowing up the bathroom.
I just have this revulsion towards sunflower seeds because I swallowed an entire bag, just eat them like they're like candy.
Mitchell definitely was the
man.
kid that night who showed up at my mom and dad's side and just in the middle of the night, just like standing there. Mom, I don't feel very good. And she's like, "Oh, what the?"
I throwed up, Mom.
Yeah, it's like Chucky just walked in their room or
Yeah,
something
right,
like that. Yeah.
right.
Anywho, continue. Thought that was
I mean, I definitely was a sunflower seed enjoyer, just not while I was playing. I was typically a gum guy. I don't remember ever eating anything weird though. Like truthfully, I mean, between games you eat a sandwich or something. Like I know that's not weird.
Like inside the locker room itself or the dugout. That's
Yeah,
kinda-
because like in the dugout, you're not really eating, especially not mid.
maybe around the sporting.
Sure,
event. How
sure,
about
sure.
that? Because we've all been in tournaments that have lasted all day.
Oh, of
or-
course,
Oh, gosh,
of course, yeah. Dude, I don't know because it's always like ballpark type food, or one of the team parents runs to Subway or Jimmy John's or something, grabs
yeah.
a whole bunch of sandwiches. Like it's pretty simple. I truthfully I don't know if I have like a fun answer because I really don't know.
I kind of do. Mine was
He's just itching over. Oh, I got one.
I was thinking about it, and then it came to me when you were talking about the sunflower seeds, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, never mind. Frisco Melt from Hardee's. Oh yeah, we had some practices. Naturally, ice time is very hard to come by.
That was his
Sure,
go-to every
sure.
time.
Mitchell's sitting up so high in that damn chair.
Yeah, you like it?
His legs are
That's funny
reaching.
as hell.
He's so short. I wish we could just move the camera down. Just to show
Oh,
that.
another one right there. Yeah, buddy hasn't hit puberty and he's trying to chirp me over here.
Make the camera
Hey,
move
man,
down. Sounds like Ed Gein in that new show.
hey, man, if I haven't hit puberty yet and I'm this tall, I can grow a beard and all that, then fantastic.
Don't worry, what
I'm
I
gonna be
heard
6'7".
is my second puberty is coming and I'm going to be at least 6'5" or above.
You are or
yeah,
me?
Yeah, me.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
me. No,
Sweet.
You're done.
Yeah,
We're both still growing, Mitch.
Yep.
that'd
Kudos to
be
us.
good if you guys did, because that means just more badass dudes, like 100%, just big dogs.
We both wake up one day, we're 7'3".
Man, that'd be crazy. That's such a hard height to be. You know what I mean?
You have
'Cause-
experience.
Well, because I'm imagining myself being 6'4" and being on an airplane, and you're 7'3".
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh, I mean,
PJs only.
literally, that's the only thing you could take.
Okay, anyway. Frisco Melt.
Sorry, yeah, Frisco Melt at Hardee's at the time. It was gas. I mean, it'd be one of those where I'd tell my dad would be taking me to practice, and ice time is very hard to come by with hockey comparatively to having a field in the
Yeah,
middle.
of course,
very
of course.
easy to come by. Where we'd be done at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and I'd be 12 years old. I'd be like, Dad, we need to go get a Frisco Melt. down in the valley in Chesterfield.
So
And
specific.
I'd obliterated it at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, just chow on it. I probably brought it into the locker room at one point in time. I wouldn't be surprised if I had, honestly.
Dude, the stuff that's
Yeah.
floating around in the air in a hockey locker room.
Speaking of randomly, too, on the same note, along being in the locker room, and you said something about dip in college.
Yeah.
there was a thing, and I never did this, thank God, because it sounds horrible.
Sandpaper? Is that
Yes.
what you're going
Yeah.
with?
So you guys know this story. So where they're basically hockey players, they would do this thing called a toey, to where they would take a piece of sandpaper, rub it between their toes, and then put dip in between their toes, then put it in their skate. And they'd play the whole game with dip between their toes because apparently it sent the nicotine faster to you. And these guys would be just buzzing during the game. And
That's just insane.
apparently, like some of these guys, they would literally puke because it would be so much of stimulation from the nicotine to the toes. That's
crazy.
I'm like, nah. Like some of the guys in college told me about this, and I was like, what? And they were like, you haven't heard of this before?
Those are the
Like,
type.
no, I haven't heard about this before.
Those are the types of dudes that have like a foot fetish and stuff.
Oh gosh, dude.
They're the ones buying feet pics.
If I ever find out any of our boys have a feet fetish, we're gonna have a real sit down with them.
I heard Mitch is a big feet pic purchaser.
That's AI generated.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
They're framing me.
Mitch, do you have an answer?
I was a little chunker growing up, so I definitely so I liked eating stuff. So there's definitely tournaments where I would be loading up on like the sweets in between or something like that.
The only time he wasn't chunky was when he was playing lacrosse.
100%.
Yeah,
Sure.
because lacrosse had you with 50,000 steps
Yeah,
a day or
running
something, whatever
like
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 100. Like I would eat sweets and stuff like that at tournaments. And why do I feel shit like shit
right.
my third game?
Every hockey tournament, yeah.
I mean, I'm
not fueling your body
Yeah,
at
Right.
all. Yeah.
I'm sure there were times where I had, candy between games or something. And when I was coaching ball still, the amount of parents that would go get their kids candy bars and stuff. And I would literally like sit down with the parents. It's like, you got to think about what you're doing here, pal. Like, I understand if it's the only thing you can get is a Snickers bar, fine. Quick carbs, okay. But
You should have brought some creatine.
No,
Just
three,
had
no,
him
literally.
guzzle down
Three
creatine.
Musketeers
Yeah.
was my go-to.
But
Oh,
the
gosh, those are
amount
gas.
of
Yeah.
the amount of parents that are just literally shoving candy to their kids mid-game sometimes. First of all, if you're a parent with young kids in sports, don't come into the dugout in the middle of the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Don't go to the
That's
bench
crazy.
for a football game or a basketball game or a hockey game. Like, don't do that. You suck. Like, go away. Not your time.
Yeah, that's crazy helicopter parent activity.
There's walls around the dugout.
We
for a
made
reason.
that clear to Lisa that if we were ever hurt on the ice, don't ever come over to the bench because
Yeah.
it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
Because
no, it is.
Then the other dudes on the team make fun of you for your mama coming to check on you.
Correct.
Yeah, it's like no.
Did you
don't
have
do
strict parents? I had bad. I would never wear my mouth guard. I would like chew on it at the side of my
that.
mouth.
You were like Matthew Kachuk.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
He's a big Connor McDavid guy because he does that too.
Connor does do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, he does.
Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Anywho,
Mitch is going to do a mass commercial for
Yeah,
Adidas too
yeah,
while he's at it.
Right.
no, I would chew on it, and every time one of our parents would see me in the stand, like you could see me on the ice with it, they would charge me $1 every time they saw it. Like, hanging
I
out
remember
in my
this,
mouth
yeah.
Oh my god.
because I'd be gnawing on it and it wouldn't be in my mouth, and
Yeah.
they would charge me $1
That's
every
funny.
single time. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, but it blew my mind how many times or how often parents will just shove candy to their kids.
Let's do an episode on that in the future.
Yeah,
too.
why
Like-
your
like-
kid is fat.
Well, that too. You could.
No, literally, because it's almost always the chunkers
Yeah.
that are getting candy shoved in their face, and it's like, why do you think your kid sucks and is fat and runs out of breath walking back
Yep.
to the dugout? It's like
That actually is a big deal too, because if you're a parent and you're not giving your kid proper nutrition, like obviously treats can come into play, like they're kids, like let them be kids, but their entire diet shouldn't just be shit.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
oh, they're kids. No.
yeah.
no.
Let's
like
put a
we'll,
pin in
we'll
this,
save that.
'cause
Yeah,
that's a good
but
topic. Yeah.
we definitely will.
So anyway, I don't have anything weird. I truthfully don't.
Other than before we go into the ending credits, for those of you listening,
Mhm.
October 18th.
Yes, this
So
coming Saturday.
You're listening this Monday.
Yeah.
Obviously, what will that be? The 13th,
Mhm.
Monday the 13th. October 18th, come out to Lafayette High School,
Mhm.
men's workout. Subject
8
to
a.m.
change with the location,
Potentially,
potentially.
it'll be very
Um,
close though. Basically, the same spot.
It'll be right there.
Yeah.
Essentially.
8 a.m.
Yep.
You don't have to bring anything but yourself.
We're going to have sandbags,
clothes.
inertial
Clothes are required.
waves. Clothes are required.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. For the love of God, clothes are required.
Likely some type of game afterwards, football, frisbee, both maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll bring out the Frisbee this time for sure.
Yeah.
But these men's workouts, speaking of masculinity topics, are going to
Mhm.
be a big staple for us.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Come on out.
They're a ton of fun. Good free workout for you as well.
Mhm.
So, guys, that is episode 175. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom shot.